Welcome. How's everyone doing? Let's see. Paulina and Aniki. 안녕하세요. Welcome. Thanks for coming to the stream. And about 64 other viewers are also watching right now. We'll get started with the lesson, as always, right at the top of the hour. But I wanted to start early just to hang out a little bit and see what's going on. How's everyone's weekend going? Mine's going pretty good. Just going to read some of the comments while I was getting set up. Hello from Norway, Inger and Erit. Hello. Hello from UK. Thank you so much for your video. Oh yeah, you're welcome. Lots of 안녕하세요 in the chat. I got a ni hao in the chat. Hello teacher, I'm from Morocco, says Borgia. Your lessons are very useful, especially because I'm a beginner. I was so confused about how to start, but now I'm good. Sounds good. Lexica 510. Oh, small typo there. You hit the key that's right next to the right next to the nian. I've done that before. 안녕하세요, 빌리 선생님. Welcome, Lexica. Victoria says, I just want to thank you for all of your hard work. Just started learning Korean 4 months ago, and your videos are amazing and help a lot. 감사합니다. You are welcome. Script is Shaman asks, are you still in Korea? No, right now I am back in Los Angeles. Aeneas, hi from France. Salut. Coucou. Carla, hello from Texas. RB2003 asks, is there any chance of you doing a podcast? Yes, but join my Discord if you'd like updates about what I'm talking about. I'll just say yes, but no. Join my Discord. In fact, now is a great opportunity to plug my Discord. I have an active, semi-active, sometimes much more active, other times quieter, depends on the time of day and what part of the world you're in and what channel you're in. But it's free and it's open 24/7 and you can hang out with other people who are learning Korean there. I put a link in the chat box, so make sure to check that out. We always get tons of new signups on Sunday during these live streams. So if you want to, if you join there, make sure to say hi, say something. You'll find lots of other people are there right now. And I did make a mention of a podcast. If you search for the word podcast, you'll see I did make a post there. And I'm not going to say anything else about it, though, here. If you want to find out, you have to go over there. Paulina says, podcast in Korean. There would be Korean. It would have to do with Korean. I mean, as cool as it would be to do a podcast on, cooking or something else, I think I'll have to stick with Korean and language learning in general. Yes, it would definitely be a podcast about Korean. Just dropped my tablet. Still fine. It would definitely be about Korean, and there would be a lot of Korean in the podcast as well. So we'll see. RB says, I listen to Essential Korean Podcast. I'm not actually aware of other podcasts. I know Talk to Me Korean had one. I'm not sure if they still do right now. If anyone knows, let me know. But that was the only one that I was aware of that was active. And some things she says are slightly different. If you tell me anything, I can give you a reason why. It doesn't necessarily mean that one of us is wrong. But yeah, if you give me an example, I'll tell you what's going on there. Already joined but haven't participated yet. Well, now's your chance. Tusha says, are you still doing sourdough? Yeah, so sourdough was the hero of the world back a couple years ago when we were all stuck in our homes. And I couldn't even buy yeast. And probably many of you had the same experience going into the store trying to buy the most basic ingredients. You think, okay, fine, I'm going to cook. I have lots of time at home. I'm just going to cook. Well, everyone else had the same thought. So there's no flour, there's no yeast. So I had to I drove 30 minutes, I think, across town to one bakery that was selling bags of yeast for like $5. I remember. So I got a giant bag of yeast. I still have it. It still works because I froze it. I vacuum sealed it in separate containers and I froze it. It still works great. But I was using that and I made sourdough twice in the beginning. And the second time was fantastic. I was very happy with it. It was sourdough. And I did it again. I think earlier this year, I did it again, or it was the end of last year, sometime within the past year. And it also turned out pretty good. So I'm satisfied. It's not going to go in any shelves in any supermarkets. It's not beautiful looking, but as far as the taste, it was exactly what I wanted. So I was pretty happy with my accomplishment. But now that we can all go outside again, making sourdough bread is not my priority. So I wouldn't be the best person to start a podcast about sourdough bread. Paulina says, 한국어 한 조각. So if you're looking for general podcast style videos where people are talking about a subject in Korean, there are already lots of great options out there. I mean, I have a Glass with Billy series, which is me sitting down with a guest and talking about Korean, sometimes in Korean. Or I'm speaking English and the guest is speaking in Korean. Or we're both speaking in English or we're both speaking in Korean. And there are other channels. So 한국어 한 조각 is one example. Talk to Me in Korean does other videos like that. There are many channels that make videos where they're simply talking about Korean and it's all in Korean. I wouldn't call this sort of thing, though, a podcast, including what I've been doing. It's more just a lesson that's taught in Korean. If I were to do a podcast, it would be a podcast, not just a lesson. So you'll see. Anyway, join the Discord if you want more details about that. It's an ongoing thing. Aniki asks an interesting question. Why do most Koreans ghost after exchanging a few words? Well, as the Korean language teacher and not the Korean social media master, I can offer my advice, but I don't know because I don't know what every Korean person is thinking. And I don't know what that person was thinking when they ghosted you. But I'll say a lot of times people in general, I'm not saying Koreans or foreigners or anything. People in general are looking for a quick match. You want to know that the person's a good match for you to be a friend right away. That you start talking with someone, you want to feel like, oh, okay, they're cool. Like you want to feel that right in the beginning. And if you don't get that right away, you feel, oh, they're not talking very much. Oh, this person, I don't like their picture, or, oh, they're too far from me, or whatever reason. It could be superficial. It could be real. Then they're just going to move on because there are hundreds of other people that are going to message them or that they can message, especially if they're a female and they're probably tired of getting hundreds of messages every week from guys and they're just trying to look for language exchange. So keep that in mind. Don't take it personally if you get ghosted on a language exchange app. It's a normal part of the experience that you're just kind of looking for someone who matches with you right away for what you're looking for. Again, that's nothing to do with learning Korean, so don't take my word for it. Chidiogo Lily, I can't pronounce your name, but you know who you are. I just started your class. So happy to be here. Welcome. All right, let's see here. Jess Bridges. Oh, that's interesting. I'm local to George Dickel Distillery. Does trees around the distillery covered in their yeast, which appears as a black coating. I collected it to make my sourdough starter. That's really cool. So I learned about when I was doing sourdough starters, I'm the kind of person who needs to know why for anything that I do. Like someone can say, okay, here's how to do something. Do this, then do this, then do this. I'm going to stop you at step 1 and I'm going to go, why? And it's really annoying. And it's one of the reasons why I tend to learn things best by myself and faster than I do in a class, because I want to know the why to every step. That way I can really understand what I'm doing. With cooking, it's the same. So when I started learning about sourdough, people would say, oh, do this. And they'd say, no, do this is better, and do this. And I was thinking they all seem to work. So what's the why? And kind of figured out, like, how does the sourdough, how does the yeast work? And I found out that so many of the factors just don't matter, that if you want something that works, yeast is literally everywhere. Yeast is in the air. So you don't need yeast to make bread rise. You simply leave out flour with a little bit or something, it doesn't even have to be flour. It's just something for the yeast that's in the air already to eat. And you leave it out and you get some good and you get some bad bacteria and you get some yeast growing in there. And then the process you do after that is to filter out the ones you want. So that's the condensed version of the process of making the sourdough starter, which is I needed to know before I could do it. And once I figured that out, it was really smooth sailing from then on. So then I could read blogs and people would suggest, they'd say, hey, well, I recommend adding, this amount of this type of flour because it does this. And then I could understand why that would do that. Whole wheat flour attracts this, this type of yeast really likes, not this type of yeast, but the yeast tends to really like this because it's lower sugar or it's more like vitamins, more stuff for them to eat than all-purpose flour. So you kind of start to learn about that type of stuff. So it was fun, kind of falling down a rabbit hole. Yeah, but no, I'm not doing any podcasts about sourdough bread anytime soon. We will start the lesson if you're wondering. You're like, Billy's talking about sourdough yeast and stuff. We're going to start the lesson in 10 minutes. Traga, 안녕하세요, welcome. Let's see. Paulina asks, does anyone know a flashcard app or site that has an audio only option? I don't know, but there's probably a way you can do that with a plugin in Anki, because Anki is open source. So someone somewhere has made an audio only deck, and someone has made a plugin that will recognize your voice for those audio files. I'm sure of it, but I've never checked. I'm just guessing, but I'm guessing, but I'm sure of it because it's Anki. They have everything. It's more flashcards that makes you speak. Speaking of which, something that reminded me of is if you play Skyrim, there is a mod for audio, for spoken audio, and it lets you reply to the NPCs by reading, so speaking out loud, the option that you want. And it's actually really cool. So instead of like selecting the one on the screen, you can simply say it. So it feels like you're choosing that. You're having a conversation with them. Anyway. There's a beep. So does anyone know about, okay, so I have smoke detectors in my house, of course, my apartment, and they died, a couple years ago. I replaced all of them. They're all new. But a few days ago, I started hearing the beep, every like 30 seconds or so, this like light little sound like from a dying smoke detector battery. Obviously, so normally I would change it, but it's not loud. Like normally you could hear it anywhere in the house to pinpoint where it's coming from. This one sounds like it's coming from like in the ceiling, but I'm not sure where in the ceiling. Maybe it's from my neighbors because, I'm connected to the neighbor's apartment. Maybe it's from the neighbor's apartment in their ceiling, but it doesn't sound far enough away that I can conclude it's definitely the neighbor. I just think it is. It might be in my attic, but I went up in the attic yesterday. I brought the big ladder and I'm walking all around there, trying to hear it. And it still is super faint. So I wasn't confident that it's definitely in the attic, but it's somewhere and I could hear it mostly when I'm in this room. But I have a smoke detector in the room right here. That is definitely not it. It's a different one. So I don't know, is there another spot that there would possibly be a smoke detector? And if I can't find it, if I leave it, how long is this chirping going to go on until the battery finally gives up and it just stops? Because I'm okay waiting it out if it's not going to be too long. But I can hear it all the time when I'm working if I don't have my headphones in. And it's not like annoying. I can't hear it anywhere except around here. So if I'm in my room or right outside my room, I can hear it, but anywhere else in the house, I can't hear it. I would change your battery. That's the thing. Change my batteries from where? It's none of the units that I can see. I know there's one here. There's also one right outside my room in the hallway. that I've changed. They're not the culprit. I can see it and it's not beeping. Anyway, yeah, it's a mystery smoke detector. Ask your neighbors. See, the problem with that is I'd have to know who my neighbors are. I know one of my neighbors, but not the other. One of them I see every day whenever I leave the house, and they're cool. But I haven't seen or spoken with the other set of neighbors who are never outside. If it's from your neighbors, they must be deaf. Yeah, I mean, I've had the smoke detector dying before. I've heard that chirp before, and it wakes me up. Like when these smoke detectors, the normal ones, were dying, I would be like sleeping. It's like 3 a.m. and I hear the tick. You know what I'm talking about. It's like you can't go back to sleep. So it's like 3 a.m. I'm walking through, like looking for a spare 9-volt battery, find one. Okay, pull out the ladder. I'm like half asleep, replace the battery, put it in, go back to sleep. Like it wakes you up. You can't ignore it. But this is soft. Like I can ignore it, but it's not loud enough that I hear it in other parts of the house. So if it's the neighbors, it has to be coming from like a specific spot. Like it has to be in this area. But if it's mine, it could be somewhere in the attic. I don't know. Did you try holding the button? No, like I said, if it were beeping from one of the units, you can know that something's making a sound directly in front of you, because you could look at it and hear the sound and be like, oh, no, I know where all my smoke detectors are. It's none of them. Okay, we should get started soon. I'll get started in 5 minutes. Any other Korean questions or general questions before we start? Let's see. Reminder that if you're a Patreon of mine, you get access to the worksheets and outlines for every live stream that I do. So you can get the actual sentences and explanations for every lesson, as well as an additional worksheet, which has maybe about 10 or so extra practice examples, which are more difficult than what we can do during the live stream. So that worksheet is already on Patreon right now, if you join. I think it's a pretty good value. I priced it at $1. So I don't want to make it free because I want to have, I want people to support me, but at the same time, I want to make it cheap enough so that anyone can do it. So that's one option you have as well, if you'd like some extra practice for these live streams. Also, if you are a YouTube member, you get access to watch these abridged versions of these live streams the same day that they happen. So tonight, you'll get to watch this live stream. Yeah, abridged. It'll be like 10 minutes. And if you are not a member, you can still watch all of these for free. I don't believe in paywalling my important information, but you'll have to wait a few more days. So I think it'll be up on Friday this week. So everyone else can watch it on Friday and members can watch it from tonight. Also, I already mentioned this earlier, but there were fewer people. I do have an active Discord channel. We always get lots of new signups on Sunday, so make sure to check that out. Say hi in there. Join, give yourself a quick introduction. Join the questions channel and ask a question, or just hang out with other people. It's open 24/7, again, completely free. Next Sunday, we also have another live stream. We did not last Sunday, but this next one we will. And then I have one more announcement. Jess Bridges says, Patreon is totally worth it. Thank you. I appreciate it. I think it's worth it too, personally. Let's see. Is it a watch or some other electronic device in a drawer or lost in the couch? Yeah, I would also think that in this case, though, there is nothing in this entire area that could be beeping like that. I don't have any sort of electronic devices that would beep like that. Let's see. The only electronic device I have in this entire room that's in the area is I have this little like a temperature sensor. It's not the sensor. That's it. That's the only thing that it could be, because there isn't any other electronic here that would be beeping besides my computer, but my computer's not beeping. It's on right now, so. Okay, let's see. I do have time for one more quick announcement. kind of an unfortunate announcement, but every year I travel to Korea during the summer. And I also go again, at least for the past couple years, 2001, 2002. Yeah, the past couple years, I've also been traveling again for another month in October, November. This year, I'm not sure I'll be able to afford to go into Korea again in October, November. So this year I might not get to go to Korea again. Kind of sad news, but the plane ticket prices keep going up. And apartments are pretty expensive to rent over there. So it's kind of, I calculated that if I just fly there and sleep there, so nothing else, not including food or transportation, but just that alone will be a little over $2,000. So it's a little bit more expensive. Last year, I think I went for $1,400, something like that. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to go this year, which is kind of sad because I like doing that. But I still will go next year. So I might not get to go to Korea again until next May, but I just wanted to announce that in case anyone's expecting me to go to Korea again in October and make videos there. I do have videos that I filmed during the summer, though, that I will be uploading until the end of this year. So there are still some more of those coming out. And then after that, I have some other ideas that I'll be putting out on my channel. Tinnitus. It's not tinnitus. No, tinnitus is more like kind of like a permanent mosquito in your ear. Okay. The Hertz gives an interesting suggestion. I don't have this at my house, but you say doors with an electronic opening feature sometimes run out of batteries. Yeah, I'm not wealthy enough. I can't go to Korea this year again. I don't have an electronic opening door in my house, nor do I have an elevator, nor do I have a concierge, or anything like that. Or a live-in chef. Paulina says, I'm saving my money to go to Korea in May. Oh, well, I'll be there too. Definitely. Every year I go there, at least for the summer. But I like going there twice a year because it gives me more chances to meet other people and not have to rush. When I go only during the summer, it's a big rush because I have to, like I'm hurried in that sort of way because I have only a short amount of time and that's my only chance for the entire year to be in Korea. So I have to meet as many people and film as many videos as possible. There's no time to play, no time to meet friends. But if I can go twice in a year, it allows me to kind of space things out. Like, oh, it's okay if I only film, 2 videos this week or 3 videos this week instead of 4 or 5. But yeah, so we'll see. Maybe next year I'll be able to afford it and do it twice. Okay. Now it is 2 o'clock. So today's lesson, we're going to be learning about some more time words. Previously, during a live stream back in April 23rd, 2023, I did a live stream about some time words such as 지금 for now, 나중에, and 이따가 for later, 아까 for a little while ago, 동안, 오래, 오랫동안, 오랜만에, 전후, all of these words. Check that out. It's not a prerequisite for this lesson, but it does have some more time words that this lesson is continuing on. So you can actually watch this one or that one first. It's just more of the same stuff. But because there are so many words that are related to time, I had to separate it into 2 separate lessons. So that's why we have a sequel today. There is one lesson that you might want to know, though, before we start the lesson today, and that is how to say since doing something. So it has been 1 year since I went to Korea, like that sort of sentence. If you know how to say since doing, which is kind of an upper beginner topic, it's not a lower beginner, it's more of a high beginner topic. If you know that, then that will be beneficial for this lesson for a different part, which I'll let you know when we get there toward the end. But besides that, there aren't really any prerequisites besides knowing how to conjugate verbs for today. So just so you know, you'll see that form. If you want to quickly go learn that form while I'm doing this introduction, it was from August 21st of last year, and it's still up on my channel. You can find the abridged version. It's probably less than 10 minutes. Okay. So today we're going to be learning some more time words. That is, words that are used when you're talking about the time. And the first set of words that we have You might already know these, but we're still going to include them. Now, I don't have a sentence for these ones, but they're pretty straightforward. 어제, for yesterday. 오늘, today. And 내일, for tomorrow. I'll leave these up just for a second. You can write them down. Hopefully you already know these. I know these are like super basic, but I'm including them because of the next words we're going to be doing. Yu asks me, what's the best month to visit Korea? I would say April and May. Hey, that rhymes. If you can't go in April and May, I really like October. October is like wonderful weather. It's like cool. November is also okay. November gets a little bit cold in the mornings and night, but November is okay too. So I would say April, May, October, November are the best for me, for weather-wise. For things to do, however, that would depend on what you want to do. You might have to go during the summertime, like June, July, for that sort of thing. There tends to be a lot of activities going on during the summer. Okay. 그저께. 그저께 means the day before yesterday. And this is used a lot. I use this word a lot. It's not a rare word or anything. And then does anyone know how to say the day after tomorrow? There are actually two ways to say it. To say the day after tomorrow, you can either say 내일 모레, or you can just say 모레. Both have the same meaning, the day after tomorrow. If you're not giving any context to your sentence, though, you just randomly say a word, I would use the entire word, 내일 모레. But in context, 모레 is fine. The reason is there's another word with the same pronunciation, 모래, which means sand. So if you're using it out of context and someone says like, oh, what are you talking about? And you're trying to say, oh, I was just talking about something the day after tomorrow. And you just say, 모래요, 모래. They're going to think you're talking about sand. So, I mean, I hate sand. It gets everywhere. So you don't want to do that. So I would recommend using the entire thing, 내일 모레. Okay. These words I don't have any sentences with because they're just used like any other word. Are there any other words you're curious about? Oh, and then if you're not beginner, if you're intermediate or advanced, there's another way you might see this as well. It's less common, but you might also see 그제. 그제 has the same meaning as 그저께. I don't use it, but you might see it. I'll leave this up for a second. Someone said 내일의. Yeah, tomorrow's tomorrow. If you said that, they would understand you. If you said 내일 like that, they'll also understand you. But it's not how you say it, the day after tomorrow. Yeah, Traga says you're also going in May. Nice. Lots of people going in May. I'll have to do another fan meetup then, perhaps in the end of May or sometime in May. There's that beeping again. I swear it sounds like it's coming from the ceiling somewhere. There's nothing in my ceiling. I even went up in the attic and it was like super hot up there. I'm like walking around. Okay. Okay, so those were just some basic words for the days. The following words that we're going to use for the rest of this lesson are used as adverbs. That means that you're going to be using these words before a verb, and they describe in what way you're doing the verb, or something about how, or in this case, when you're doing a verb. And the first one is 아직 or 아직도. Both of these have the same meaning, but 아직도 just adds more emphasis. And what this means, it actually has two meanings. It can either mean yet or not yet, or it can also mean still when it's used with a negative sentence. So, I did not do it. 아직도. 아직도, I didn't do it. In that case, you would translate it as not yet. I did not do it yet. I didn't do it yet. But when it's used with an affirmative sentence, so I did do it. Actually, that's not a good example. So I am doing it. For example, I am studying. 아직도, I am studying. Then you would translate it as still. So I still am studying. I'm still studying, like that. But it's the same word. 아직 and 아직도. Again, 아직도 is like not yet or still. It just adds more emphasis, but it has the same meaning. Okay, I'll leave this up for a second, and then I have an example. Yeah, Jess Bridges gave a good example. 한국어를 아직도 못해요. I still can't speak Korean. Well, it's a good sentence, but you can. You can speak some Korean. You can make that sentence. Aniki, I might have to do a separate lesson for more time words. There are still more. 여전히 is a really common one. But yeah, that could be an extra episode. If you used it in, Lexica asks, if you used it in a negative sentence with progressive tense, could it mean I am not still? Can you give me a sentence example and I'll translate it? But I think it would be I'm not yet. Because it's not really in terms of English. Like we can use not still doing something. But you might, in Korean, you might say that a different way. If you want to emphasize like, oh, I am not still doing something, like I was still doing it, but now I am not still doing it. It's a very specific use case. It wouldn't be that. It wouldn't be this word. You would use a different word to say it. For example, you might say 지금은 or 더 이상 anymore. You might say, I'm not doing it anymore. 지금 더 이상 안 하고 있어요. Like, oh, I'm not doing that anymore in that sense. Or 지금은 안 하고 있어요. I'm not doing it now. You don't necessarily say you wouldn't 아직 안 하고 있어요. Sounds like you're saying I'm not doing it yet. But it could, in the right context, it could mean what you want. I'm not still waiting. I'm not still waiting. I'm not sure how natural that is in English. I'm not still waiting. We might just say I'm not waiting anymore. So I heard the beep. Okay. Let me give you an example. Actually, I want you to make the example. I couldn't do it all yet. So I couldn't finish it yet. I couldn't finish it yet. You can do this with either the verb to finish something, 끝내다, or just to do something, 하다. So, and you can use this with, if you're doing this with 하다, you would want to use the adverb 다. So, 다 하다 literally means to do all, but 다 is used as an adverb to mean to finish doing. So like 다 먹다, to finish eating. 다 보다, to finish seeing, to finish watching something. 다 하다, to finish doing something, like that. Or just 끝내다, literally to finish, to complete something. So I couldn't finish it yet. I couldn't finish it yet. I think every single one of these sentences I'm going to have you do. Because you're here for a live lesson, you know, you don't just want me to give you sentences or else why join, right? Plus, you guys did such a good job last time. 아직도 다 안 했어요. Nice, Aniki. Anna as well had one. 아직 안 끝냈어요. Yes. Paulina, 아직 다 못했어요. Perfect. Perfect, actually is what I meant to say. Mary Laura, 아직 다 하지 못했어요. Perfect. Traga, 제가 아직 다 못 끝냈어요. That's nice. Perfect. I couldn't finish it. I couldn't complete it all yet. Very natural. 아직도 다 안 했어요. I didn't do it all yet. Ani, nice. Baby Bodaluna, 아직 다 하지 않아요. I'm not doing it yet. I'm not finishing it yet. So that's more of your intention, like I'm not going to finish it yet. Not that I couldn't finish it, like could not, was unable to, but that would mean I do not, I am not going to. Hopegate as well, nice. Nice. Anyone else want to give it a try before I write the answer? 아직, still, or yet. 다, all of it, or to finish doing something. 하다, to do. So, 못했어요. I couldn't do all of it. I couldn't finish it yet. I couldn't finish it all yet. 아직 다 못했어요. So, I couldn't do all of it yet, or I couldn't finish it yet. I haven't finished it yet. 아직 다 못했어요. Okay, that was fairly easy. But I have another example I want you to do. I'm still doing homework. I'm still doing homework. I'm still doing homework. Or if you want to switch things up, feel free to make it into a question. Are you still doing your homework? Are you still doing homework? Try that. One or the other sentence. They're both fine. Try to make that. Are you still doing homework? Or I'm still doing homework. Aniki, nice. Perfect. 숙제 아직 하고 있어요. That works. Paulina as well. 아직 숙제를 하고 있어요. Perfect. 숙제를 아직 하고 있어요. Traga, perfect. Welcome. Okay, let's see. I'm reading everyone else's sentences as well. I'm just not going to have time to read all of them out loud, but I'm reading them in my head. Nice. Olivia as well. Hope. Nice, nice. Even if I don't read yours, assume that it's correct. 아직 숙제를 하고 있어요. Yes, perfect, Lexica. Okay. Let me ask a question then. So the sentence you're making, are you still doing your homework? Using 아직. So literally, 아직 숙제하고 있어요. Are you still doing your homework? Let me write it down. 아직, so still or yet. In this case, it's not a negative sentence. It's 하고 있어요. It's an affirmative sentence, so it's going to mean still. 숙제, homework, 하고 있어요. So I'm still doing my homework. 아직 숙제하고 있어요. I'm still doing homework. But if we were to make this into a question, 아직 숙제하고 있어요? Still doing homework. Are you still doing homework? Is what we get. But when you ask someone a question using 아직, in this case, you're not just saying, oh, are you still doing homework? What you kind of want to say is, are you still doing homework? You want that emphasis, not just it's still going on, but it's still going on, right? And to do that, you're going to want to use, hold on, I got a donation. Hold on, the answer. I'll tell you right when we get back. After a word from our sponsor, Traga. Traga! Thank you, Traga. And you have a question that I'll read while I'm doing dabs. Have you ever done a video about your favorite restaurant places to eat in Korea? No, I've done a few videos about my favorite food. In fact, I did do a video like my top 10 Korean food that I eat. I haven't done a place about my favorite restaurants to visit, but I have done a video about my favorite places to visit. I haven't edited it yet, but I did film it this year in Korea during the summer. And I picked my top 5 places that I always visit whenever I'm in Korea. So yeah, look for that video sometime toward the end of the year because I have to upload so many other videos that I filmed back in July. Most of these now I'm uploading, I filmed in July. I have to upload these first once a week. And once those are all uploaded, then you'll get to see the video I made about the top 5 places in Korea. So yes, there will be one. Okay, so as I was saying, when you're asking this question, it's not that you're asking, are you still doing your homework? But you kind of want that emphasis on still, right? Are you still doing your homework? In which case, you would want to use not 아직, but 아직도. 아직도 would sound more natural because you want that emphasis. Are you still doing your homework? 아직도 숙제하고 있어요? Are you still doing your homework? Not just 아직 숙제하고 있어요? Are you still doing homework? It's a different emphasis. So you'll often use 아직도 whenever you're adding emphasis to a sentence, especially when you're making questions. Okay. The next word we have is actually a set. Actually, I forgot. For my intermediate lessons, I typically write really fast, but for my beginner lessons, I try to write a little bit neater. Since not everyone knows the stroke order really well, and I certainly didn't when I was a beginner. I remember what was really hard for me was reading the diphthongs. So like things like this, or like, like reading like, how do I read that? Like, unless you look really closely. And sometimes things would be printed poorly. So you'd see something like this and you're like, is that kung or kung or kung? Like you couldn't really tell if it was like that. So I'm better at that now. I can read it. But I remember when I was a beginner, it was really confusing. And all of those diphthongs, like you had to look really close to see what they were. Okay. 이미 and 벌써. Both of these words mean already. As in, you've already done something. I've already eaten it. I've already gone there. I've already seen it. I already bought it. Anything like that. But these are slightly different. What do you think the difference is between these words? It's actually very simple. Korpan says, stroke order always seems to go toward the right and bottom sides. I'm not quite sure what you mean. You might be right, but I'm not quite sure what you mean. Yeah, Traga says emphasis. Yeah, Emi, not surprised. Yeah. Yeah. I would wait for more people to give their answer, but that's pretty much the main part of it. Emi and 벌써 both mean already, but Emi is just already. The end. 벌써 is already. 벌써 has a feeling of emotion. It's a little more emphatic. It feels like it's sooner than expected. So, already. That's the difference. And you'll use both of these. So let me give you an example. Actually, you know what? You make this example. I already left. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I already left. So your friend's like, hey, when are you going to come over here? And you're driving. You're like, oh, yeah, I already left. How would you say it? So I'm going to give you a verb you want for to leave. 출발하다 is to depart. To depart or to leave. As in, like, you're leaving out, you're departing somewhere. Not as in, like, I left my house, but I'm leaving my house as in I'm departing to go somewhere, depart. So I think it's better to write it down as depart, because if you write it down as leave, it can be confused with the verb 나가다, which is actually to go out of somewhere. But this isn't necessarily to go out of anywhere. It's simply to, from your purpose, the place you're starting at, to begin going toward your destination. That's what 출발 means. Okay. So let's see your sentences. Paulina already, before I could give you that word, Paulina already gave a nice answer. 이미 나갔어요. It's correct. I already left. 이미 나갔어요. Although, if you're talking about, I'll give you a note though, Paulina. If you're talking about you're outside, like I'm already out, I've already left. you would actually use 나오다, like I already came out, because you're talking about your current location is outside of the house. Versus 나갔어요 is like someone left from somewhere. So you could say 나갔어요, like I already left from a building. But if you're saying I'm already leaving, like I'm already out of my house, then your reference point is outside. So you would say 나오다 if they're referring to your house. If that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, your sentence is still fine. Okay. Aniki has a nice one. 이미 퇴근했어요. I already am leaving. I already went home. That could work. Your boss calls you. But then you can't say that. You have to say, oh, I was just going back to the office. Yeah, I'll be right there. You know. Okay, 이미 출발했어요. Nice, Trega. Perfect. Paulina. Perfect. Lexica. Perfect. Okay, now let's see some other users. What other sentences do you have? Olivia. I think Olivia has a nice example that illustrates both words. Pretty good. 벌써 갔어요? 네, 이미 갔어요. Yep, there you go. 이미 출발했잖아요. Yeah, if they should know, then yeah, you can use that. Like if your friend already knows you left and you told them you're leaving at this time, and then they're like, oh, where'd you go? You're like, well, 이미 출발했잖아요. 이미 2시에 출발한다고 했잖아요. And then you would, swear at them or yell, and then they would hang up the phone and realize they were dumb. Okay. Yeah, I think you got it. Let me give you an example. Actually, my sentence is the exact same as what you have. 이미, so already, 출발하다, to depart, to leave from somewhere. 출발했어요. So I already left. 이미 출발했어요. Now you wouldn't use 벌써 출발했어요 for yourself. Why? Because it's not surprising to you because you know it. So you're typically not going to use 벌써 for things that you do yourself because it would be like saying, I already left. I left already? Like, are you surprised that you left already? Usually you wouldn't say that. Maybe there's a situation where you could, but I can't think of any. 이미 출발했어요. So I already left or someone already left. Okay. How would you say this sentence? It's winter already. It's already winter. The summer ended. I was so tired of that heat, but now it's already winter. In case you don't know, I'll give you the word for winter. If you already knew this word, I won't assume you had to look. I'm just writing it up for people who didn't know. 겨울. 겨울 is winter. I definitely recommend learning the seasons. It's not for this lesson. I know it's kind of related to time, but we're not talking about seasons for this. Maybe we'll do a separate lesson about weather. That could be a good topic. I'm going to write that down. Weather. Okay, maybe for a future live stream, we'll get that. Okay, it's winter already. It's already winter. Let's see. Actually, before I finish this, let's see what everyone's writing. Aneki, 벌써 겨울이 오네요. Okay, winter's already coming. 벌써 겨울이에요. Nice. Traga, perfect. Paulina as well. Perfect. You even added the neo at the end. Very nice touch. Like to show additional surprise. Nice. You didn't have to, but it's fine to add it. Okay, let's see what else everyone else has. 이미 겨울이에요. Okay, 이미 could work, but the emphasis wouldn't be there. 이미 겨울이에요 would be like saying it is already winter, which is fine. Like if someone said, hey, let's meet in the fall. And you're like, wait, 이미 겨울인데요? It's already winter, right? That would be perfect. It's already, because you don't need to say it's already winter. You're just saying it's already winter. There's no extra emphasis on already. And you're basically calling your friend dumb because how can you meet in October if it's already past there and winter, unless they're talking about the next year. And after you tell them they're dumb, they say, yes, I meant next year because I don't want to see you. And they leave. So there are times when you would use one or the other. It's not that this sentence is wrong, but that sentence wouldn't be that sort of, it wouldn't have the same nuance. So hopefully that kind of clarifies it when you might use one or the other. 벌써 겨울 이에요. I'm like removing my line. There's only room for one sponsor today, and it's Traga. 벌써 already 겨울이에요. It's already winter. It's winter already. Where did the fall go? Now, if you are in Korea, you'll understand exactly what this sentence means. Korea has a really long summer where it's like hot from June, July, August, September. And then you get nice weather in October. And then it becomes winter again. November, December, January, February, March, April, almost into April. So it's like 5 months of winter and 5 months of summer. And then like 1 month of spring and fall. It kind of feels like that sometimes because you get like, even though it's technically over, you'll still get like hot days during the transitions or and really cold mornings and nights as it's changing seasons. So sometimes it feels like 벌써 겨울이에요? Or 벌써 여름이에요? Yeah, where is my spring? Where is my fall? Okay. 벌써 겨울이에요? It's already, or sorry, 벌써 겨울이에요. It's already winter, or it's winter already. Okay. The next word we have is 곧. 곧 means a few things. It can mean soon. Something's happening soon. This is usually the word you want to use when you want to say soon. It could mean any moment. They'll be here any moment. 곧 올 거예요. Literally, they will come here soon. But that's how you would express they'll be here any moment. Or before long, if you're talking about something happening. Like before long, it will happen. Soon, any moment, before long. 곧. That's all you need to know about this word. So let me give you a sentence. The sentence I want you to make is, I am arriving or I will arrive soon. Before we had 출발하다, which is to depart. Now we have 도착하다, which is to arrive. So these are, you want to learn these together in case you didn't know one or the other. 도착하다. Okay, so I will arrive soon, or I'm arriving soon. Just use the present tense is fine. Okay, let's see. Aniki. 곧 도착하겠습니다. Perfect. Paulina, 곧 도착해요. Perfect. Oh, 금방 is not in this live stream because, again, there are too many words. But 금방 would mean like right away. Or soon as well. It can also mean soon. But it's more of a soon, like right away sort of soon. Like in a second. Whereas 곧 is simply soon. Anytime soon. Anytime now. 곧 도착해요. 곧 도착해요. 곧 도착할게요. Nice. Emina, Deba, you don't need there's no space though before the keo. It's simply attached. 곧 도착해요. Jeff Bridges. Nice. Nice. 곧 도착해요. Okay. So, let me give you the sentence, which you already all got. I guess it was too easy. Hold on. I don't want to write things with this type of stroke order for all of you. Oh, wait. Now I wrote it even worse. Okay. 곧 도착하다 is to arrive. So 곧 도착해요. I am arriving. 곧, soon. I'll be there any minute. 곧 도착해요. I'm arriving soon. 곧 도착해요. Next, we have another word. 바로. If you want to say, hold on. I'll write them up here. If you want to say something's going to happen right away, oh yeah, it'll be done right away, ASAP, like that sort of meaning. Use 바로. So, another word I should let you know, another word I should tell you is, you might also see this word combined with 지금. 지금 means right now. So you might see 바로 and you might see 지금 바로. So 지금 바로 literally is right now, immediately, or right now, right away. It's just more emphasis. So you can translate 바로 as one of these, right away, immediately, at once. And you can translate 지금 바로 as like right now or ASAP. So it just has more emphasis. Like if you're watching a commercial on television and they say, call now, and we'll throw in a second orange peeler for the same price. Just pay the shipping. You know what I'm talking about. They would say, 지금 바로 전화하세요. Call right now. So that's your right now with, that's how you say right now with emphasis. But you don't need 지금. It's just optional. Okay. The sentence I want you to make is come right away. Actually, let's do this. Come here right now. Come here right now. Right now. Make that sentence. But wait, there's more. Anyone who stayed up until like 2 a.m. watching TV and then the infomercials start coming on at like really loud volume knows what I'm talking about. You got to get off the sofa, walk over. You start to turn off the TV, but then you're like, wait a second. Maybe I need this this baby food blender after all. You like watch it for a few minutes. And you're like, this would make my life easier. I can afford 3 easy payments of $15.99 plus shipping. Has anyone ever ordered an infomercial product from the television before? Let me know. I have once. I'm wondering what anyone else's experiences have been. 차가 바로 also means straight upright. Yeah, as an adverb, it can also mean that as well. Since this is about time words, I'm not going over that, but yes, if you've seen it used like that. But you might be thinking of my voice. I'm still going through puberty at 37. 똑바로 is probably what you're going to see it used as. 똑바로 앉다 is like to sit up straight. So you might see 똑바로 앉아, like sit up straight. 똑바로 앉아 있어요. So they are sitting up straight. 여기서 바로 오세요. So lexica, 여기서 would be that someone's coming from somewhere. So you can say 저기 or 거기서, from there, come here. But if you're saying come here, you would use 여기. Simply 여기. 여기서 would mean from here, since it's 여기에서. Or it could mean 여기에서 something 하고 있어요. You're doing something at here. So it can mean from or at. But when you're going or coming, it doesn't mean doing something at. It actually means from. So you would simply use 여기 or whatever location that you want to do. Darcel says, is there a study plan in the books? No, but I have a video called How to Make Your Own 30-Day Study Plan. So that would be perfect for you and it's free. You can get that. Mary Laura said, 지금 당장 오세요. Yeah, there are other ways that you can say this. But like I said, this live stream doesn't have time for every single word for time. That's the reason why it's part 2. Maybe we'll do a part 3. Let's see. I'll put it in my notes. if I do a part 3, let's see, we get 당장, 금방. I also have to do 방금. Oh wait, no, I already did 방금. I did 방금 for... Did I do 방금? Oh no, I didn't do 방금. So I could do 방금 for a separate live stream. So if there's enough requests, I can do a part 3. Does anyone want that? Does anyone want more time words? Do you like learning about these types of words? I can do another one. But there are really a lot of words, like, you know, how to say right now or quickly or soon or later, all that type of thing. There are a lot of options for that. I'm just giving you the most common ones here. Baby Buddha Luna says, 바로 TV를 꺼 when the infomercials come on. But then you're missing out on some of the great infomercials. Yeah, if you'd like, I can offer up another option for, since Aniki, since you are a member, I can take your requests seriously. I have too many requests from non-members, but the members I prioritize. So yeah, I can definitely add it as another option. A part 3, even more time words. And we can get a few more, like 당장, 금방, 방금, because those ones also have a bit of overlap. So they would take. I couldn't just do it in a minute. I'd have to cover it with a few examples. That's the reason I didn't include all of them, because then it's like teaching 5 words that have similar meanings but are different nuance. Anyway, okay. 지금 바로 오세요. So right away now. So now right away, come here. 지금 바로 오세요. So come here right now. 지금 바로 오세요. The next sentence I want you to make is, it's hot, so don't drink it right away. Okay, this is a bit of an intermediate level sentence. So I know this is a beginner level lesson. So if you can't make this sentence, don't worry. I'm going to write it up. But for those of you who are intermediate and want to give this a try, it is hot, so, or because it's hot, however you want to translate it. It's hot, so, or because it's hot, don't drink it right away. I'll give you the verb for hot, though. If you're talking about something that is hot to the touch, something that's hot that you feel, it's 뜨겁다, 뜨겁다. And the form you're going to use for because or so is going to be the 니까 form, since you can't use the whole form when you're giving a command. So command, because, so like because of something, do it. So don't drink it right away because you have to use 니까 for that sort of command. Okay. Let's see. Aniki already had it before I was even writing that, but these are some hints for anyone else who wants to give it a try. The multicolored click pen with spirograph. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Did you get that? I never got a spirograph, but that thing looks so cool. One of my friends had it. One of my friends also had one that used paint for, which was pretty cool. Yeah, the spirograph one. That would be so cool. Okay, Aniki. 더우니까. This would be 뜨거우니까. I see, yeah, you rushed it. But yeah, the rest of the sentence is perfect. Paulina, message retracted. Traga. Traga, small typo. Oh, I see. There we go. 뜨거우니까 바로 마시지 마세요. Perfect. Okay, let's see. Paulina. 뜨거우니까 바로... small typo, Paulina, but yes, your sentence besides the small typo on 마시다 is perfect. 뜨거우니까 바로 마시지 마세요. Yes. Oh, lexica as well. So the conjugation for 뜨겁다 with the 니까 form is 뜨거우니까. I'll write that up. That's why this is more intermediate, because you have to know several forms to put it together. But I'll write the answer up here. Well, that's really big. 뜨겁다, to be hot to the touch. 뜨거우니까, so because it's hot, therefore, 바로, right away. 마시다, to drink it. 마시지 마세요. So don't drink it right away because it's hot. So it's hot, so don't drink it right away. Be careful. 뜨거우니까 바로 마시지 마세요. 뜨거우니까 바로 마시지 마세요. So don't drink it right away because it's hot. My tea is not hot, so I can drink it. Okay, next. 곧, soon. 바로, right away. 곧바로, soon, right away. Yeah, actually, yeah. 곧바로 is right away or immediately. And it has the same meaning as just 바로, but with more emphasis. So instead of just saying right away or soon, you're saying toot sweet, right away, as soon as can be, immediately. And this word is not just more emphatic than 바로, but it's also a slightly bit formal. I don't want to say it's very formal, but it's a little bit. So you're not going to see this one too often, but you might find it in writing. Yeah, Paulina, that's right. For commands, you cannot use 서. And for the reason why, because there actually is a reason why, it's not just a you can't, there is a reason. I did a live stream all about the difference between 서 and 니까, I think a couple years ago, so I recommend checking that out. The short version is 서 is for cause and effect. So something caused something to happen. So you can't have don't drink, which was caused by it being hot. Like, do not drink something because it was caused by, it doesn't make any sense. You have to have something that happened or will happen or happens, not a don't do it or do something, because that can't be, a command can't be caused by something. It hasn't happened. Okay. Yeah, 지 않다, Amina, 지 않다 would be do not do something, like I do not do something, but not as a command. So like, 뜨거우니까 바로 안 마셨어요. I didn't drink it right away because it was hot. Or 뜨거워서, not being hot is why I didn't drink it. You could say that, but you wouldn't be able to use that as a command. Rora is easy. I actually mentioned 똑바로 a few minutes ago. Okay, 곧바로 again is just more emphatic, but it's a little bit more formal. So let me give you an example. This one is 100% an intermediate level example, but I'm still going to give it to you. I want you to make this sentence. I graduated high school and then immediately went to the military. I graduated high school. I graduated high school and then immediately went to the military. I'm going to add one word each time. I graduated, until someone can get it. I graduated high school and then immediately went to the military. 졸업하다 is to graduate. 졸업하다, 졸업 is graduation. 졸업하다. So I graduated high school and then right away or immediately I went to the military. Military is 군대. Every Korean male, when they're an adult, has to go to the military for 2 years. So I graduated high school and then immediately, right away, 곧바로, went to the military. Okay, Mary Laura, you're very close, almost perfect. Actually, your sentence is perfect. It could be more perfect if we changed one thing. Yes. Traga, small typo for the the kunde, but yes, your sentence is perfect. Aniki. Okay, Aniki sentence, that's good. Paulina as well. Let's see. Oh, Paulina, small typo for 졸업. It's just 졸. 곧바로 군대 갔어요. Perfect. No, Mary, it's not that. Mary, your sentence could be more perfect if you copied what Traga did, which is 졸업하고. So you do not need, actually, I'll write the sentence down and I'll tell you what I'm talking about. Let's see if there's anyone else going to attempt it. Let's read some other sentences. 곧바로 졸업하고 곧바로 군대 갔어요. Yes, 졸업하고 is perfect. 졸업하고 나서 works as well. Yes, perfect. Okay. Yes, this is definitely an intermediate level sentence. So if you got that right, give yourself a pat on the back. 고등학교를 졸업하고 곧바로, so right away or immediately, 군대, military, 군대에 갔어요. Now, if you miss the 에, it's still going to be okay. Still makes sense. Okay. 고등학교를 졸업하고, so 고등학교 is high school, 졸업하다 is to graduate. So 하고, after I graduated high school, 곧바로, right away, 군대, military에 갔어요. So I went to the military right after graduating from high school. So I graduated high school and then right after I went into the military. 고등학교를 졸업하고 곧바로 군대 갔어요. One note for Mary, who I was giving the sentence to, telling that you want to use this. So whenever you're using 고 to mean and, like you do something and then you do something else, the end of your sentence gives the tense. So literally we get, I graduate high school and then right after I went to the military. So we have graduate, present tense, and then went, past tense, right? We don't do this in English. In English, we match every conjugation to the same tense or the same tense that we want. So we're going to say, I graduated high school and then I went to the military in English, right? Korean, that's not necessary. You only need to do the tense of the sentence at the very end. Everything else in your sentence can be whatever tense you want. You can say like 졸업해서, 졸업하고, 나서, 졸업하니까, whatever. 하고, it all depends on the tense at the end of the sentence. So that does not mean you cannot say past tense in the middle of your sentence. It doesn't mean you can't use it when it's applicable. So you could say this literally, and it's grammatically fine. 고등학교를 졸업했고 곧바로 군대 갔어요. But what you get when you add the past tense when it's not necessary like this is you get a really strong emphasis. Like, hey, after I had graduated high school and finished that, then I went to the military. And it just adds an unnecessary emphasis. You could want that, but most of the time you don't need that sort of emphasis unless you really need to say, after I had graduated from high school, then right after that, then I went to the military. It sounds a little bit repetitive. So you can do it if you really need it to be clear while you're speaking that you're talking about the past. Like, no, while I'm talking, maybe you make a long sentence. You're like, I really need the person listening to know right here I'm talking about the past. That could be a legitimate thing you want. Otherwise, you don't need it. So most of the time, almost never, like very rarely, you'll see a past tense conjugation with 고 in a natural Korean sentence. But it's not wrong. It's just not as common. Okay. Aniki, yes, you can use 서. So 졸업해서 군대 갔어요 is like I graduated and then right after that I went to the military. Yeah. But it's a little bit less natural because the 서 form usually shows things that are connected. But in context, it could be connected. Like, yeah, I graduated and then went to military. It kind of can flow like that. Out of context, well, I mean, out of context, I guess a lot of stuff doesn't make sense. So yeah, you're fine. Okay. The next word we have 넘게. 넘게. 넘게 means more than or over an amount of time. So, more than 1 year, over a year, more than 3 days, over a week, like that. And that's all you need to know about it. However, the way you use it is you attach it after Tim, after some call me Tim. The way you use it is after the time. So you'll say time and then 넘게 and then whatever verb. So it still works like an adverb, but you're going to put the time before it. Okay, so make this sentence for me. I studied for over 3 years. I studied for more than 3 years. Make that sentence. 합격하다 is to be accepted. So like that's like 학교에 합격했다. I was accepted at school. Like to be accepted to a college. But not graduation. Graduation would be 졸업. So those are different words. Paulina, let's see. But if there's more than one subject, it's okay to conjugate the verb with cool. For example, if you wanted to say this person did something and then I did, and then I will do something, then yeah, you can do that. The issue with that, however, is you'll end up with a sentence that sounds like it was literally translated from another language and not the way that Koreans typically speak, which is using topic markers to mark like what you're talking about and then subject markers to say someone else did something in a sentence. So if you have a subject and you have a topic marker and you're talking about yourself, and then you say, but this person did this thing, you don't need to say 했고. You can just say 하고 철수가 blah 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 like that and say he did it. It still fits because you still have the tense at the end of the sentence. But if you want to have it sound like two sentences stuck together with just long sentences stuck together, then it works. But it might not be the most natural way to translate something. But again, it's not going to be wrong. It'll just sound a little bit less natural unless there's a good reason for saying in the middle of the sentence, this is past tense. Often what happens, the way that you will hear it, is it's actually the person was speaking and stopped speaking. And they were saying, hey, I'm going to stop the sentence right here and pause for a second to figure out what I want to say. So I'm going to say 했고요 or 했고 for a friend. Well, something 했고요. Then they're going to finish the sentence. And then when it's written, it might be written as one sentence with 했고 or 했고요. And you're reading it thinking, oh, they wrote it with the past tense in there. What they actually were doing was speaking it and ending their sentence like that. And then continuing their sentence, but then you can stick it together in writing. So that's one way it might get used is when you're saying something and you end your thought, but you know but you're still talking, but you just want to get this thought out. Then you're saying something 했고요. Like, yeah, I did that, or he or she did that. And then this, blah, 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 like that. So that's one way it could work. But as a single sentence, it's usually not necessary. Okay, Lexica, Traga. Oh, here, I think Aniki was first. 3년 넘게 공부했어요. Perfect. Traga as well. 3년 넘게 공부했어요. Perfect. Paulina as well. 3년 넘게 공부했어요. Perfect. Lexica. 3년 넘게 공부했어요. Perfect. 이상 is different. Bora Kul asks about 이상. That is not one of the words we're doing for time. 이상 is used for an amount. Or 이하 would be under. And 이상 is more or equal to. So it's like you might say 2명 이상이에요. Like it's only for 2 people or more. So 2 or more people. So if it's 3 people, it's okay. 4 people, okay. 2 people, okay. Not 1 person. And that's not for time, but that's for an amount. And then 이하 is the equal to or less than. So 2명 이하 is like 2 people or less. 3년 넘게 공부했어요. Nice. Kenneth Lee. Is that I or L? I can't tell with my font. I'll just say Kenny. 3년 넘게 공부했어요. Nice, everyone. Is there a space before 넘게? Yes, 넘게 is just spaced. Okay, so let me give you the answer, although it's what I was already reading from everyone else. (3년) 3 years, 넘게, more than or over. Again, it's over an amount of time, which it comes after. And there's a space here. 공부하다, to study, 공부했어요. I studied over or more than 3년, 3 years. 3년 넘게 공부했어요. I studied over 3 years. In my case, 한국어를 18년 넘게 공부했어요. I've studied Korean over 18 years. In fact, next year will be my 19th year that I've been studying Korean. It's a long time. Okay. So the obvious question then is, how do you say less than 3 years, right? Well, there are some ways you can say it that are very simple and straightforward, but the most common way and the most natural sounding way that you can say it, the way that you can actually say less than or under an amount of time, is not with just an adverb, but it's actually going to be with a completely different form. And that is using the form for saying since, like since you've started doing something, since you did something. So if you want to say, I studied for under 3 years, or I studied for less than 3 years, you would actually instead say, since I started studying, it hasn't yet been 3 years. That's going to be the most common way to express this. Now, it's not as easy as you might think, but if you're familiar with the since form, it's pretty straightforward. The way that works is you would use the 지 form and then time. So 3년, 3 years, or whatever you want to say. And then you can use 도 to say even 3 years, or 밖에, only 3 years. So even or only. And then you would use the verb 안 되다. So literally it has, you would use 안 되다 after. So literally it does not become, or it is not only 3 years, or it is not even 3 years. Both of these could work. So for example, I have a separate live stream about this form. This was from August 21st, 2022, from last year. And I taught about how to use this form. It's pretty simple. It's just memorizing how to put the time with 지 and then conjugating 안 되다 in the past tense. So it's actually, it's quite a long looking form, but it's very simple how it works. You only have to repeat the same thing every time. For example, 하다 would become 한지, oops, there's a space. 하다 would become 한지, and then 3년 도, or 3년 밖에, 안 됐어요. So literally, it has not been, 안 됐어요, even 3 years since I did something. And that's how you would say it's been less than 3 years. So again, you'll use the 지 form, and that will have either a nian or a un, like that, with a space, and then 지, and then the time, and then 도 or 밖에, and then 안 되다, and then you'll conjugate 되다 into the past tense. Okay, so I want you to make the sentence, I have been studying for less than 3 years, which is going to literally be, it hasn't even been 3 years since I started studying. Go ahead, give it a try. It's not as hard as you think if you know this form. It's actually very simple. If you already know this form, it's simple. If you don't know the form, then of course it's complicated. And I would go watch that lesson first, because there's, you have to learn this. Okay. Mary Laura, remember, you want to add 도 or 밖에. I mean, you could say 3년이 안 됐어요. Like literally, it's very straightforward. It hasn't been 3 years since I studied, but you'd want to add 도. It hasn't even been, or hasn't. It's only been. Instead of saying it hasn't. Instead of just saying it has not been 3 years since I started, which sounds very straightforward and kind of flat. Paulina, 공부한 지 3년도 안 됐어요. 안. But yes, perfect. Trega, 공부하기 시작한 지. Yes, you can definitely add the 시작하다. Makes it even more perfect. Aniki as well. 공부하기 시작한 지 3년도 안 됐어요. Perfect. And whether you add 시작하다 or not, it's still going to be perfect because not adding it still already has the meaning inside of since you first did something. So it's okay whether you do or don't. I prefer using 시작하다 because it makes it more clear. Like since I've started doing it, not just since I did it first. 공부한 지 3년도 안 됐어요. Perfect lexica. Now let's read a few of the other ones. 시작도 안 됐어요. Nice, nice. Amina, Amina, the form is not used by attaching it to the verb stem. You would need to attach one of these, and this is from a separate lesson. So if you don't know this, it's okay. It's more of a high beginner topic. Okay. Hope Gate, small, as well. Hope Gate, yeah. You would also need to add one of these. It's not simply just attaching chi to the end. Let's see. Kenneth. Oh yeah, you wrote the to at the end. Perfect. You got that right then. No. Small typo for 안 됐어요. For the 되다 conjugates as like that, 돼. Not 돼. Although you'll see lots of Koreans writing it like this because they can't spell. But it's supposed to be this. Uki Bear. Nice. Welcome, Uki Bear. Okay. So Uki Bear, I actually have a question. Uki Bear has an Instagram where he or she, I think it's a he, right? You're a he. I sorry if I'm assuming your gender for a bear. Can you stand up by yourself, or does it take some balance? That's what I'm wondering. Are you really good at standing up by yourself, or do you require some balancing skills to stand up? Okay. So I'm going to give you an example. You can use 공부한 지. So since I started studying, or literally just since I studied, or 공부하기 시작한 지. Since I started studying, I would use this. Actually, I shouldn't use that form for you because some of you might not know that one. 공부하기 시작한 지 3년도, so even 3 years, 안 됐어요. It has not been even 3 years since I started studying. So that's how you'd say it's been less than 3 years since I started studying. Alternatively, you could have said 3년 밖에 안 됐어요. 밖에 is how you say only when you're using it with a negative sentence. So it's only been 3 years since I started studying. As in, like it hasn't been more than 3 years yet. If you wanted, you could even add 아직 into here. 공부하기 시작한 지 아직 3년도 안 됐어요. It hasn't even yet been 3 years since I started studying. You know, you can add more fancy. 공부하기 시작한 지 아직 3년도 안 된 것 같아요. You know, you can try to be all like with your tongue and make yourself sound better. It's all up to you. You know, how do you want to sound? Do you want to sound really humble? 뭐 공부하기 시작한 지 아직은 3년, 2년, 3년인가? 그 정도밖에 안 된 것 같은데요. 확실하지 않네요. You could you know, and then they're going to be like, oh, wow, he's so good at Korean. It's amazing that they can say that. So you can do whatever you want to make it more fun, but that's the standard form. And then they'll secretly want to punch you for being so like bragging, but they won't. They'll just be like, ha ha ha, your Korean's so good. I hate you. Like that. Okay. There are still more words that you could use when talking about the time. I got a few suggestions. 당장, 방금, 금방. There are a lot more. We could go on to a part 3 if you want. I can add that to the vote for next time, which will be in a few more weeks. But that's the bulk of this lesson. So now we have a lot of words you can use with the time. So this lesson plus the last lesson from April about time words combined gives you like 20 words that are really common, 20 words for talking about the time. Okay. Any other questions? I'll repeat a few announcements that I have again. Make sure to join my Discord channel. It's free. It's open 24/7. If you join, please say hi. It's better if you join and say hi, and that way other people know that you're there. And yeah. Also, kind of sad, disappointing news is, I mentioned this at the beginning, but I probably won't be able to afford to make a second Korea trip this year in October, November that I usually do. So I did go in the summertime and I came back in July. I normally go a second time in October or November for a month. This year, though, I don't think I'll be able to do that just because the prices of everything keep going up. So I can't afford it this year. I don't think so, but I'm not going to say it's canceled yet, but I don't think so for this year. So I'm just letting you know, but kind of sad news. Instead, though, I'll try to do some other projects here in the States in the meantime. Now I will take some questions. So I'm opening it up to a Q&A, and that's the lesson for today. Oh, wait. Before I finish, I need to do a thumbnail. I need to do a thumbnail for the video because I never have a thumbnail. So let's do something like this. There we go. That'll be the thumbnail for the video. Okay, now I can take questions. And our first question is from Zandria, or maybe it's a comment. You write, I was watching Robert Reich and I lost track of time. I'm here though. Okay, that wasn't a question. Traga asks, will you do a live stream about the plane form? I have done a live stream about the plane form. It was in combination with my live stream about quoting forms. And I think I've done a separate one as well in my live stream about politeness levels. But I'll do it again if I do the live stream about how to say think. I'll have another review about it. It's pretty straightforward though. It's not worth its own live stream by itself. Okay. But the answer is yes. Aniki says, do you have a grammar form you like just because of the way it sounds? I like lots of grammar forms. I have some favorite grammar forms as well, but I'm not sure if I like them because of the way they sound. I like grammar forms for what they mean. So usually the grammar forms that are my favorites are like sarcastic ones or ones that don't mean what they literally mean. A few of those. Paulina says, I have a question. Why in this sentence it must be 제가 and not 제? 제 좋아하는. You're trying to think 저의 좋아하는, like my food that I like. Because the reason is the verb is 좋아하다, to like. So it's 제가 좋아하다 is the, what do you call it? The modifying piece. So what kind of food are you talking about? You're talking about food. So what food is it? It is the 제가 먹는 음식. Right? It makes sense when you say 제가 먹어요. 이 음식은 제가 먹어요. This food, I eat it. So 제가 먹는 음식이에요. It's food that I eat. So it's in the same vein as that. 제가 본 영화, the movie that I watched. 제가 봤어요. I watched it. 영화, 이 영화는 제가 봤어요. This movie, I watched it. 제가 본 영화. So it would make sense if you said 제 본 영화, my watched movie, but it sounds a bit awkward. My like food, my food I like. It kind of sounds like my food I like. It makes sense. It's not completely wrong, but it sounds a little unnatural. So it's just in the same vein as where other things. So the verb is just to like. So you're saying literally the food that I like. You're not saying my liked food, if that kind of helps a bit. Let's see here. Scroll down. Sorry, I'm reading the members' comments first. Then I'm gonna go back up and see any others if there's time. Chaga says he likes koldinyo. I do like koldinyo, but I don't use it quite like that, like sarcastic. I use it like, actually, I do kind of use it a little bit joking. I do like koldinyo, I guess. Lexica says, could you talk about how plain form works with other forms? For example, if you're writing a diary entry and want to say, I need to, you would just do 해야 한다, 해야 된다. So its plain form is simply the final verb. So if the form is 해야 돼요, 해야 해요, I have to, 해야 합니다. It's just that end part. 해야 한다, plain form. 해야 된다, plain form. Okay. Traga says, I don't know why, but I see Koreans use plain form instead of regular yo. Give me an example and I'll tell you exactly why they're saying that. But plain form is used all the time in speech when you want to just get the other person's attention. So it's used with casual speech. I should say that. Casual speech. 어제 이상한 거 봤다? 어제 재미있는 일 있었다? 어제 신기한 거 봤다? Yesterday I saw something cool. Use it with a rising intonation. It's like, hey, so yesterday I saw something cool. And then you go on and say what it is. It's just to get the person's attention when you're speaking casually versus just saying, 어제 재미있는 일 있었어요. It's fine to say that. Yesterday there was something fun that happened, something interesting. 신기한 일 있었어요. There's something cool that happened yesterday. But 신기한 일 있었다? Hey, there's something cool yesterday. And I'm going to tell you. So you'll hear it in speech all the time between friends. That might be what you're referring to. And Zandria asks, apart from Patreon suggestions, do you choose lessons based on how often you see people mess something up? Originally, yes. All of the Learn Korean series lessons, which I don't upload too frequently, but I try to upload at least a handful every year. And I have another one coming up maybe next month. Those ones are based on not suggestions mostly, but based on things I see people mess up. In the beginning, those were all of the lessons. And then it became things that people mess up sometimes, but I think people really need to know. And then it became just things that are good to know. And then it became, okay, what are some things that aren't commonly taught in a clear manner in English? So it's kind of evolved. But yeah, these days though, a lot of my lessons are based on things that people request because I already have lessons about basic things. And if it's not a request, it's things I think that even with the lessons I've made, people still mess them up even after they've watched my video. So I think, okay, I need to make a new video that's better. So sometimes you'll see repeated topics. Like I made something when I started my channel and then I remade the video in a different series because I thought, my lesson when I was a beginner, it was too simple. Let's make something a little more clear. And I've done that with live streams as well. I think I have a couple lessons where I redid it because I felt I did too much. I was trying to teach too much in the earlier live stream, and then I did it later as just its own topic so I could teach it more clearly. And then Aniki asks, have you ever played Paduk? Once, only once. I don't know how to play it. Paulina says, any book recommendations for those interested in the evolution of Korean language, origin of it, linguistic interesting facts? Yes. There is a book called History of the Korean Language, and the author who wrote that, I can't remember his name right now, it's on the tip of my tongue. He also wrote a few books that are also similar about the history of the Korean language. If you are really into linguistics, like even more than me, you'll like them. But I found it to be a little bit too information dense. Like you're reading all of these details of the language without understanding a single bit of their significance, if that makes sense. Like, here's what this one sounded like. Here's what this word came from. Here's what this is from and why these words change. But it goes through them without analyzing any of it. So you'll learn about the change, but then you're like, well, great, where is that change used? Or why do I need to know that? And then it just keeps going. So it's interesting for little tidbits like that, but it wasn't something I felt like, wow, after I finished reading parts of it. But still, you might feel differently. That might be right up your alley. And then Traga asks, what's the difference between 고민 and 걱정? 고민 is not an actual worry. 고민 is like you're concerned about, like it's on your mind. It's bugging you. You're thinking about it. Would even be a better way to translate it. 고민 is more like thinking about, worried in that sense. So you use 고민 for small things such as you're thinking about what you should eat. You're 고민하고 있어요. 고민 중이에요. I'm thinking about what should I eat? Or what should I do? Or what clothes should I wear? That's sort of 고민. 걱정 is an actual concern. Like you wouldn't say I'm 걱정 about what I'm going to wear unless it's because all your clothes are destroyed. Then you are 걱정. Or you're 걱정 about what to eat because you have no food. But 고민 is like, which cereal should I have? I have 7 cereals. Should I eat this because it expires next month? But I actually want to eat this one. Kind of like that. And then you end up eating the expired one and you hate it, so you don't eat cereal for a few weeks. And then the one you actually wanted expires. Just eat the cereal you want to eat. And subscribe for more life lessons with Billy Go. Okay. I was going to go on to some other questions, but I see I'm getting a lot of member questions today, so I'm going to focus on these first. Paulina asks, so any good Hanja book? Hanja book depends on your level. If you're a total beginner, Talk to Me in Korean has a decent one. I think it has like 500 Hanja in it. But I'm not aware of any like that's all around for all levels. And the thing is, usually you don't need Hanja to know how to read and write. There are some situations when you'll see it in Korea, like in newspapers, on signs like that. You'll see it used every once in a while. It'll be uses for it. But overall, you can get, for speaking, you're going to get the most benefit out of just knowing that the character exists, knowing how to knowing what the reading is, like the sound it is, and then knowing the meaning, not knowing how to write it or recognize it when you see it. That's much less important, though it can come in handy. So for learning Hanja, you can actually take any sort of Hanja book, because there are going to be differences between Chinese, Korean, Japanese, all of that. But at their core, they all come from the same place. So there are you're going to find most of them will have similar uses, even like the ones that are just like Chinese books for learning Chinese characters. Korean uses what's known as the traditional script, traditional Chinese characters. Whereas China today uses the simplified Chinese writing system, and Japanese uses their own different version of their Japanese simplified characters, which are slightly different than the traditional ones. Traditional, I think, are still used in Taiwan or I can't remember. There's some places that still use traditional, but yeah, Korean uses the traditional one. Korean got their characters from Chinese mostly around the Tang Dynasty. So I think that would have been like, what was that, like around 1,000, 1,200 year, around that year-ish, give or take. But a lot of the meanings are going to be similar between the countries with a few exceptions. They're generally going to be the same. So you can learn them really from any source. And then when you start, after you've learned some of the basics, like days of the week, colors, emotions, numbers, all of that stuff is going to transfer between all the languages. And then you can build on top of that by getting something that's specific for Korean. Like they have some Hanja dictionaries that are for Korean, and they have some college books that are for Korean. But I wouldn't start with them. I think they would be too off-putting. I think they would make you want to give up if you were to start with something like that. I think it's better to ease into it with something kind of fun and playful just for Chinese characters. And then once you've gotten a hang of how it works, then going into specifically Korean. At least that's what I did. Taiwan? Okay. Okay, let's see. Aniki says, when does the ending day sound rude? Yeah, if you use it with a upward intonation, as a question, it sounds rude. 근데? So what? 없는데? If you use it with an upward intonation, like you're asking them a question, it's like, it's not though, but I didn't do it. It has that sort of upward, like you're challenging them when you say it. So that's what they're talking about. But if you say it, 없는데, and you continue speaking, it's not rude. So don't end your sentences with 는데 unless you're offering to them to reply. And I did a full live stream about the 대 form. Look that up. I explained this in there as well. The 대 form is like holding out your hand, like you're waiting for their answer when you use it in a sentence, or when you use it to them. So it's like da-da-da, 는데, but then you can finish your sentence, 는데, so it has contrast. But if you don't finish your sentence and you just end it, it kind of is like an invitation for the listener to provide something on top of that. So something's 는데, and then they're going to think, if you said something contrary to what they said, they're going to be like, what do they want from me? It sounds like you're challenging them, so it can sound rude. That's what they're talking about. Okay. Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you're in 반말 or whatever, it would still sound rude because that's what the 대 form does. So watch my live stream about 대. That'll clarify everything for you. Okay, I've done all the questions from members now. Let me check some that aren't from members. Let's go up here. Bora Ghoul says, do we ever use the subject marker after 지, like 공부한지가? You can, optionally. You don't need to, though. I don't see it very much. Okay, let's see. Lauren Holton asks, have you ever had a time where you felt like you were forgetting or struggling with Korean, like every day? If it makes you feel better, or maybe it makes you feel worse. Billy's been studying for 18 years and he still struggles with Korean. Yeah, because I'm not a native speaker. I'm not expecting myself to be 100% totally comfortable in Korean with every life situation, everything. Like, I'm good. I know Korean. I'm pretty good. But that doesn't mean I'm like 100% native, right? Yeah, sometimes I'll be like, oh, what's this expression? And I can talk around it. I can explain what I'm talking about, but I wanted this expression and I don't know it sometimes. So I'll look it up, or I'll ask someone like, oh, in this situation, I'm trying to say this thing. How do you think I should say it? And then they can suggest, oh, this might sound good. So I have that. And sometimes I'll add new words to my vocabulary deck. Every week I might add a couple new words. So yeah. And you can get my vocabulary deck, which has some of the words I didn't know. It also has just words I found that I thought I wanted to share. And that's on my Patreon page as well. You can get my personal Anki deck. I think it has like 7,000 words or something like that. Or maybe not 7,000. I think 4,000-ish mostly advanced level words, mostly really specific words are in there. Okay, let's see, going down here. M says the video you did about the irregular piep. Oh, you like that one? Including why some changes and some don't with the history of the character was super interesting. I'm glad you liked it. I loved that, making that video. I knew many people wouldn't watch it, but I really enjoyed that. Going down the journey to learn that was fun. And after I learned it, I knew, okay, someday I have to make this into a video. And it was on my list of to-do videos for a very long time. And yeah, I'm glad I can make that one too. Okay. And Yan says, what's the best way to keep your vocabulary in your head? I sometimes forget words and I don't know how to remember. So some people will tell you all you need is just to do more spaced repetition. So more vocabulary drilling, more flashcards. That's not true, because you're not going to actually retain it until you're able to use it yourself. Until then, it's going to be in your brain, kind of like when you're studying for a test and you have all this knowledge and you cram the night before and then you kind of remember it and you forget. It's going to be like that, floating around your brain. But until you actually use it, it's just going to be kind of floating there. And you're not going to be able to pull it out fast enough in a conversation. So you have to practice using it. So make sentences with it. When you write it down, make a sentence. Look at sentences using that word. Say them out loud. And then whenever it's possible, try to incorporate that even purposefully into your conversations with your friends. And then once you've been able to use it, it'll click and you'll get that word. And then the next time you see it in your vocabulary list, in your Flashcards, it's easy. It'll be a piece of cake because you've used it once or twice. Let's see. Zandria Waters asks an interesting question. What's a topic you don't feel other teachers are teaching enough? I don't know. I think I teach a lot of stuff that other teachers don't teach, but that's because as far as I know, I'm the only English speaking person on YouTube that has a channel devoted to teaching Korean. There are other channels that talk about learning languages or even about learning Korean, and other students that are learning Korean that are making YouTube videos. But I think I'm the only channel that's completely focused on teaching Korean. So I have a lot of different takes on topics than you'll hear from a native teacher because I process them as an English speaker first. I don't know, I might not know the exact rules like 100% for, this word's used like this and this and this, but I will know it as it's used because I'm a second language speaker of Korean, if that makes sense. I speak it as a second language. So I think most of the stuff that I teach is going to be a little different. Is there something they don't teach enough? I don't think there's enough general advice out there for language learners. I think because I don't actually watch a lot of YouTube. I think a lot of what I've seen out there is advice for learning a language that's geared towards selling something. So it'll be advice like buy my plan for learning a language, follow my plan for learning a language, and you'll see success in 3 months. Buy my book, and this is the best way to learn. Follow this study schedule, and you'll learn faster than everyone else. I see a lot of this stuff on YouTube, and then I'll see general advice about learning, like, you should study more, you should practice more. That doesn't quite align with Korean. Like, Korean works a little bit differently, I think, than other languages. I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of other teachers out on YouTube are doing a great job, and I like that everyone's not teaching the same stuff. So that's why you'll see me do lots of collabs with other YouTube teachers who are teaching Korean on YouTube, is because I really like what other people are doing too. Someone might not teach grammar very well, but they have excellent videos about this topic, or maybe they speak interesting. Maybe they have a lisp, or they have an accent, but they do an amazing job at teaching grammar or something like that. Everyone's unique, right? Everyone has their pros and cons. So I don't know. I think it's just, I have my pros and cons. Other people have their pros and cons. I just think that lots of people are doing a good job. Aniki asks, why did you give up on Migugin Bildi? Oh, let me check the time. Okay, I'm only going to do questions for another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to stop for today. I think that's enough. Why did I give up on Migugin Bildi? I just paused it because I didn't have time. I was doing another, actually I have a couple other channels that are just inactive. They're just random channels I made for fun. I don't have time to do a second channel. So I thought about making a second channel as well for this channel. I thought about making like a vlog channel where I post like my food videos or travel videos, but I just don't have time to manage it. I'm spending all my time just doing this YouTube channel you're watching. So Anna Fanmade sends, can you attach the G directly after the verb? So for example, it would have a space. If you attach it directly, that's a different form. Cypher says, I've seen videos that say you can learn in 5 minutes. Well, 5 minutes a day as a beginner is, for the first few weeks, that's not going to be a problem. You're only learning like phrases and the alphabet. That's probably fine if you're just casually learning. But to get beyond the I know a few phrases in Korean stage, 5 minutes is way too little. 0 to fluency in 5 minutes. Is that a thing? Yeah, no, don't. I'll just say no. It's not about the teaching. In the end, it's always selling the course. Yeah. So, I have courses, not paid courses, but I have books too. I sell my books because it's how I can pay to support myself. Like I don't have enough money to go to Korea this year, but it is enough for me to pay the rent. So that's good. But yeah, I mean, it's just, everyone wants to make a buck. But yeah, I kind of disagree though at doing it at the expense of the learner. I think that the learner should get the truth about how they can learn and how they can't learn. And at the end of the day, just know, it's totally off topic. I just want to say at the end of the day, just know there aren't any shortcuts for learning. As delicious as that sounds, it really just comes down to the boring stuff that everyone hates doing. Listening practice, which is actually kind of fun. Listening practice, speaking practice, which some people don't like to do. I love it. Talking with friends. Reading practice from time to time. Writing practice from time to time. You really have to be well-rounded. You can't learn a language from one thing. I mean, you can buy all of the Harry Potter books and read all of them in Korean, and your Korean's going to not improve at all. You could listen to 1,000,000 hours of Korean and not do anything else, and your Korean as well, your Korean is not going to improve. You're not going to be able to speak it. You can just have conversations all day, but you're the only one talking. Have conversations in the mirror all day for hours a day for a year, and you never learn Korean. And as you can write Korean for years and years and never get any better. You need a combination of all of these, and that's really the secret, is that there is no shortcut. And if you accept that and you're like, okay, I have to do the things that are hard, and you do them and you spend time practicing, and you're not only reading books for grammar, that's also not going to work. You have to practice, you have to do listening practice, reading, writing, all of that stuff, and you need a lot of it. When you accept that, that's when you're unlocking the secret to learning a language, which is doing all the stuff that you were trying to avoid by finding a secret. So yeah, that's what I'll tell you. That's the advice that I'll leave you with today. That's what I do. That's what I've done. It works. It's painful, but it works. I'm proof of that. So yeah, thank you everyone for coming to the live stream today. Thank you again to our sponsor, Traga. And I will see you again next week, actually, on Sunday. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.